Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. No mai haere mai to the launch of the 2021 OANZ Organic Market Report. Ko Vivian Williams toko ingoa. No Aotearoa oku tupuna. Kia te noho o ke wakatu. And I'm here in my capacity as CEO of Organics Aotearoa New Zealand, the organisation behind the market report. But before we go too far down the track, I'd like to hand over to my organic whanua, Dr. Jessica Hutchings, to welcome us all to today's event. Dr. Hutchings is from Te Waka Kaiora, OANZ's treaty partner. Thank you, Jessica.
Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Ka nui te mihi kia koutou ka hui hui mai nei I tēnei rā ki te whakamana te kaupapa o tā rānei mihi atu kia koutou. Me tuatahi mihi kia rangi nui e tui honei ko papa tuanuku e tapoto ana mihi tonu, mihi tonu, mihi tonu. Mihi hoki ki ngā tini mate ko wehi atu ki te pō, haere, haere, haere atu rā. Ka huri au ki te kanohi ora, ki ngā mana whenua, kei Aotearoa, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
Thanks very much, Jessica. We've got over 100 of you out there in Zoom land today. So echoing Jessica's words, thanks to you all, especially our organic whānau for coming along today and taking some time out of your day. And a special welcome and a thank you to our sponsors. None of us would be here today if it wasn't for them, so thank you. Welcome and thank you also to MPI, who've provided significant funding for us to extend the content of this project. And I'd also like to welcome our speakers. All of our speakers are leaders in the organic sector, and I'm sure it's going to be really interesting to hear their perspectives on organics and on the market report. And if you would like to send any questions to the speakers, you can use these this little Q&A at the bottom of your screen. The speakers will answer the questions as they come through, and any tricky questions they'll answer at the end of the section. So we'll split today into two sections, one looking at the domestic market and the other one New Zealand's place in the global marketplace. The domestic speakers today are Brendan Horari. He's one of our lead researchers with BioPure New Zealand, Noel Josephson from Ceres Organics, Grant Robinson from Countdown, Bridget Corson from Foodstuffs, and Dr. Jessica Hutchings, who you have already met, from Te Waka Kaiora. In our international section, there is Chirisella Stansu from EnviroStrat, also one of our lead researchers, Andrew Henderson from Fonterra, Alice Moore from Zespri, and Clive Dougal from Organic Wine Solutions. But before we go much further, I'd like to introduce one more person who's on that part of that panel. That's Chris Morrison. He's our chair at Organic Aotearoa New Zealand. Great person to work with. I'm just going to hand over to him briefly.
Kia ora. I'm Chris Morrison, co-founder of Karma Drinks and All Good. I come to you today as the chair of OANZ. The mandate for Organics Aotearoa New Zealand is to promote the growth of organics. On behalf of the board of OANZ, I welcome you all to the launch of the 2021 Organic Market Report and the sector strategy workshops that follow. Thank you all for joining us today. As much as we would have loved to have been meeting with you face to face, the current COVID environment has made this impractical. However, it's great to see so many familiar faces joining us online. We have an exciting program for you today with an excellent lineup of presenters. Today is an opportunity for us all to learn, contribute and connect with the organic community. I hope you leave today with a sense of optimism about the future of organics here in our beautiful country, and are hopefully motivated enough to share your enthusiasm with others. The more people we bring along with us, the better. Of course, the Organic Market Report is a very important tool for our sector in measuring how we are performing, where the opportunities are, and what we need to focus on moving forward. The report comes at an important time with the Organic Products Bill in Parliament, The results of this report shine a light on a sector that has huge potential, not only in value-added export growth, but also meeting changing domestic consumer demand. There has never been a better time for organic farmers, exporters, manufacturers, retailers and consumers. The market report will demonstrate we are well placed to meet a growing worldwide demand for healthy, organic food and products. We are fit for a better world. We do have solutions for the significant issues that we're facing, such as climate change, clean waterways and healthy soils. Let's work together to create a prosperous, healthy, vibrant society and environment with a sense of optimism for future generations.
Thanks, Chris. We're going to go into the domestic section now with Countdown, Foodstuffs and Ceres as speakers. It's a great time to thank our platinum sponsors, which would be Countdown, Foodstuffs, Ceres and one more, Fonterra. The platinum sponsors are a great source of funding for us in the report, but really importantly, they've also associated their brands to this report. Very valuable in itself. So when we talk about the growth of the organic sector, we know it's hard won. Some of the key stats, drum roll please. It's very exciting to talk about these things. I'm going to look at my paper, make sure I get them right. The value of the organics market is 723 million, which is it's pretty good. That's an increase of 123 million over the 2017 report. That's CAGR of 6.4%. I think what we've got to say about this growth is that it's really driven by consumers. Not something surprising. I think a lot of us in the organic sector realise that, and probably something that we need to share more widely. So internationally, New Zealand included, we see an increasingly large group of discerning consumers. They're looking to buy products that are not only good for them, but they're good for their family's health. And when they mean good for their family's health, what they mean is that it's free from chemical pesticides, chemical fertilisers, hormones, artificial additives. But also they're looking for food that's better for the planet. This demand for natural and better for the planet products, like I say, is found everywhere in the world. Noel Josephson from Ceres Organics is going to talk a little bit more about the consumers and also the general philosophies around organics. Before we start, there's a word you've got to say, COVID. It took a lot to eliminate COVID from this country, but in doing so, we changed the way that we eat. We had winners, that would be grocery, and we had losers, especially those people in food service. And if you're an international exporter to food service, it was double hard. We cover off some of those COVID impacts in the report. We know that consumers are looking for much better and healthier ways of eating. Here in New Zealand, that was even for constrained households. And we know that 40% of our exporters faced real difficulties, either from lost markets or freight issues.
Kia ora no tātou, my name is Brendan Hoare from BiPure New Zealand and part of the team that's created the OANZ market report. So, some really big numbers overall. The key changes from 2017 report to this report is that we have a total of about 723 million, of which 420 is exported and 302 is domestic. And that domestic growth is growing about 6.4% per annum of a total of 23% over the last few years. Part of our survey work is we ask consumers who's purchasing or who's interested in organic. This is quite a steady number for the organic sector over the last, I'd say 10 years, is that we have about 80% of people committed to buying and supporting organic. The key thing is trying to find out where people buy, what's going on and what are they buying. One really important piece is supermarkets are our biggest organic retailer. The reason for people to consume is very important. This data here is globally significant because it's pretty steady. People are purchasing organic for their health reasons. They're seeking products which are more natural. They're seeking products which are free from pesticides and poisons. And they're doing this for their personal health and family health.
Kia ora. I'm Noel Josephson, Chair and Co-founder of Ceres Organics, one of the leading organic brands in Australasia. Biodynamics and organics have been in New Zealand for over 80 years. It took 40 years to emerge from the realm of the enthusiast into the marketplace. And in the last 40 years, organics has really proven itself. It's consistently outgrown the food sector and it's gaining an ever-present share. Organics has been driven by consumers. This is a consumer movement. It's consumers looking for food that comes from nature, that doesn't have synthetic additives, tastes good, and from an agricultural system that has benefits to the environment. But organic consumers want more, and organic consumers have driven the shape and the nature of the organic movement, where worldwide they live by the ethos of 4 principles. Principle of health, where the health of the soil, the plant, the animal, and the human being are one and indivisible. The principle of ecology, where recognizing and working and sustaining a living ecological system is important. The principle of fairness, where relationships with everyone are important. And the principle of care and having a pathway for future generations to enjoy nature. This is the ethos that's underpinned the organic movement, and it's the ethos that lives in Ceres Organics. And it's been there from the start and our purpose to bring healing to the earth and humankind, where on the one side we have nature and respecting nature and working with nature, and on the other side the dignity of the human being. I want to thank organic consumers for the pathway they're taking the world. Thank you.
Hey, it's Grant here from Countdown. I just want to spend a couple of minutes talking to you about some of the initiatives that we have. Firstly, very briefly on sustainability, and then what we're doing in the organic space. So we've got 40 really ambitious commitments which we plan to meet by 2025. The main ones that we want to focus on for produce is reducing emissions, reducing packaging, especially plastic in produce, and very proud of the fact that we're aiming to have zero food waste that goes to landfill from any of our stores by 2025. We're incredibly passionate about organics, and we're passionate about making them more accessible and more affordable to Kiwis. And we'll work really closely with our suppliers to achieve this. There's 3 key initiatives that I really want to cover off with you. First one being our macro organic brand. We're incredibly proud of the fact that it was voted the #1 organic brand last year. And what we find is that the macro organic brand really gives customers confidence in both the quality and the organic standards. Customers are familiar with the brand, and they're familiar with the purple macro brand being associated with organics. They know this all the way through the store. And we feel that it continues to grow consistency and throughout the store and engage new customers into the category. Second initiative is our pack house in Auckland. So just recently, our pack house has been certified organic. And what this means is that you as a grower, you can send us your product, we'll pack it up and keep the cost to a minimum so that we have greater consistency of organic product. And by doing this, we will continue to grow the category and get customers to buy into it. Lastly, I want to talk to you about our loose organic apple program. You may or may not be aware, but for 2 seasons, we've had loose organic apples available right through the season while they're available with the help of Bostocks. What that's meant is that customers who've traditionally bought conventional apples are now buying into the organic category, and they're having a great experience. And this encourages them to buy into other organic products.
Hi, I'm Bridget and I work for Foodstuffs North Island and look after their produce and meat categories. I wanted to talk about organics in the context of what's happened in the last year and the OANZ market report. COVID has changed the world in the last year, and we have seen that accelerate consumer trends. This has included value for money, where customers are wanting better value, a move to online and digital, convenience, so customers are wanting ease and convenience, and this shows up in meal kits and some of the out-of-home spend. And we're also seeing it in a desire for wellness and sustainability. Particularly during lockdown, we saw mandarins, lemons and apples were very popular with our customers. And when the sunshine came out and we got into the blueberry and cherry season, there were lots of cherries and blueberries available, reflecting that we work with the export market and they had challenges exporting, and we were able to bring that produce into the New Zealand market, which was fantastic for our customers. Foodstuffs owns its stores, and what that means is that our stores, Pack and Save, New World and Foursquare, can have local ranges. And this is also complemented by our Pam's organic range, which has got fantastic, consistent quality as well as great pricing, so that our customers can access this product year round. We congratulate OANZ on the market report and wish them well for 2021 as we see the organic industry in New Zealand continue to expand and grow.
Tēnā koutou katoa, he mihi anō kia koutou. Firstly, thank you very much to everybody who's organised this event and to all of the work that's gone into the development of the Organic Market Report. First of all, I just really want to acknowledge the partnership between OANZ and Te Waka Kaiora in the way that we aspire to work in partnership to whakamana or lift organics in Aotearoa in ways that can really create pathways to tell Indigenous stories. Te Waka Kaiora is the National Māori Organics Authority of Aotearoa. We were established in 2001 and we're a flax roots organisation that really works to support Māori growers to restore the oranga back to Papatūānuku and Ranginui to be able to produce quality food for whānau but also for the market. In the last couple of years, we really have been regrouping as an organisation. We are still very much mourning the loss of our chairperson, Matua Percy Tukini, who many people will have worked with. And we continue to pick up the kaupapa of Hua Parakore to be able to lift it up to whakamana Hua Parakore so that it can provide a pathway for Māori organic growers to tell an Indigenous, a kaupapa Māori story for organics with regards to their products. Over the last couple of years, we've had new Māori producers coming on into the system from around the country at really different scales. But I think what we've seen in the last couple of years is the expansion of the Hua Parakore kaupapa at a really local level at marae gardens, at Māori community gardens and within whānau. We're seeing the return back to whenua post-COVID and the need for Māori communities to create food secure futures and food sovereign futures for themselves. And the Hua Parakore framework really provides an opportunity for people to do that. So the Hua Parakore framework is our first Indigenous validation and verification system, not just in Aotearoa, but actually internationally, that provides a pathway for Indigenous organics. So we have Indigenous communities verified with Hua Parakore in Hawaii and also too in Taiwan. It's really lovely to have this opportunity within this space to be able to whakamana the Hua Parakore and to lay it out as part of the whāriki of New Zealand and how we work towards achieving organics. One of the big pieces of work that's occupied a lot of our time and no doubt other people's time in the organic sector is having to respond to the Organic Products Bill. And so again, as Indigenous peoples, we face colonial erasure by ongoing colonial governments in New Zealand, basically to erase the work that Māori organics have done over the last 20 years in standing up an Indigenous verification system. We are again trying to find our space within the landscape of organics in Aotearoa for the Hua Parakore system as we see a whole complete change really in the organic sector with this bill. So I wish the sector well. I look forward to continuing to work in partnership and to strengthening our partnerships as a community in Aotearoa. Kia ora.
Kia ora, I'm Teresa Stanko from EnviroStrat. Right, so getting into the big figures. For 2020, the overall export value of New Zealand organics is 420 million. This is an impressive result. It represents about 18% increase from the 2017 data that we've had. And overall, in net terms, is about $65 million in revenue that the sector has added compared to 2017. It is an impressive result. Why? Because the data we've collected captured already part of the period of the pandemic, so that we believe that there is some follow-through in terms of the impact of COVID-19. But it is also a figure achieved by a sector that really doesn't benefit support in the export market. So especially when we think about the destination markets in which New Zealand has a presence and where we know that the organic sector is benefiting support from government. In relation to conventional figures, just to provide a bit of perspective, we're looking at close to 6% annual growth rate for the sector, while the overall primary sector of New Zealand is about 9%. So that's where we sit in terms of performance. Right, so where is New Zealand organic sector exporting to? What are our top markets? In relation to the top 5 markets for New Zealand, there is a bit of change at the top. US continues to be our top market with $87 million in revenue, followed by China, who's joined the group of 5, if you want, with a revenue of about $82 million. Beyond that, we have European Union, which now we are tracking it in addition separately from the UK, given the separation between European Union and Brexit through Brexit. European Union, 74 million, followed by Australia at 66 million, and lastly Japan, 31 million. In terms of product categories, what is it that we're producing and where we achieve value? The dairy sector is now the key organic export sector for New Zealand at 35%, about $153 million delivered in revenue, followed by fruit and vegetables, which a sector that for many years now has been the top sector for New Zealand. Now, fruit and vegetables is at around $143 million. Wine is doing again great with significant proportion of the overall exports at 16%. And beyond that, we have the processed food and ingredients, 6%, and also other beverages and really, other sectors like honey or body care and so on, which cover the remaining proportion. The fact that New Zealand exports is dominated by dairy. The sector has seen a 55% increase from 2017. This is really a result of a lot of effort in the country in terms of increasing production, and now we see the benefits of the growth in land certified under organic dairy production. For wine, the sector grew by 40% compared to 3 years ago in 2017. That means an average growth rate of about 12% per year, which is greater than the conventional wine at 5%. It really is a brilliant performance for the sector that continues to expand its growth and its reach in the market. Regarding fruit and vegetables, there has been growth of about 2% per year. This is smaller than conventional, if you want, fruit and vegetables, but it's also an area where we know there is significant interest and more pipeline land that is being converted under horticulture systems, so opportunity for growth there.
Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson, Global Business Manager of Organics at Fonterra. I feel particularly fortunate to be part of the organic industry in New Zealand and the opportunity we have to make a positive impact on the health of our communities, our environment and the economy. It's a privilege for Fonterra and our farmers to be able to contribute to the OANZ market report, and fantastic to see the growth in local market as well as our New Zealand exports. I expect this growth will help to provide much needed confidence both in our farmers and businesses looking to convert and make the step towards organics. Organic farmers are especially passionate about the positive impact they have on their land, their waterways, animal welfare, and it's great that we can be able to recognise them through a really positive milk price and a great result last year. While a small part of Fonterra's overall business today, organics is closely aligned to our strategic pillars of healthy people, healthy environment and healthy business. And an important value add part of our portfolio we're investing to grow. Sustainability is also a big theme for Fonterra, and particularly our organic farmers. Carbon Zero Dairy is a platform we've been investing in for over 15 years. Not only do carbon zero ingredients move us closer to our own sustainability goals, it's also a great option that we can offer to our customers and consumers to reach theirs, and something we know is particularly important for organic consumers. Looking at the future, it's exciting to see the growth in organics globally, as well as the investment that governments are making in the space. The increased investment in innovation and growth will help to make organics more affordable and in reach to more consumers. Overall, this is great news for the organic community and our planet as a whole, but it also highlights the importance of continuing to create value for our customers and consumers, and of course our farmers.
Hi, I'm Alice Moore, Global Organic Portfolio Lead for Zespri and Chair of the Organic Exporters Association of New Zealand. Organic produce has long been considered a gateway for consumers who are entering the organic category, driven by a desire for healthy, nutritious and safe fresh foods. The horticultural sector is currently New Zealand's second largest organic exporter, and strong growth in consumer demand for organic produce represents an opportunity to grow export values rapidly. At the same time, the sector is well positioned to contribute to the government's Fit for a Better World strategy. As food producers, organic growers have already made a commitment to looking after the land and improving it for future generations. They are highly skilled and proactive in their approach, prioritising the long-term health of soil, land and waterways to support ecological balance, environmental quality and healthy workers, while at the same time producing safe, high-quality, nutritious organic produce. And committed organic consumers are willing to pay more for the benefits of food grown under these conditions. Even as COVID-19 hit and incomes came under pressure, consumers increasingly sought the safety of organic produce to fortify themselves and their families. With the market opportunity clear, New Zealand's organic horticultural exports have grown 6% since 2017. We need even faster growth to meet both customer demand and support the government's move toward a high-value export model. We do continue to see strong growth in growers considering conversion. However, growth is slowed by what is often viewed from the outside as a daunting process to transition to organic production methods. Existing producers have a role to play in sharing their know-how to support the transition process, a journey that can be mutually beneficial. With more consumers than ever before now believing that brands must make a positive change to the world, there has never been a better opportunity for organic producers and exporters to rise up and take their products and stories of how our food is produced to the world. Are you ready for the challenge that this opportunity brings?
Hi, I'm Clive Dougal from Deep Down Wines in Marlborough. I'm also currently the chair of Organic Wine Growers New Zealand, which is a really exciting group of people educating and supporting organic wine growers across the country. Now, I've been making organic wine since 2007. In fact, I made the first certified organic wine in Marlborough in those days. It's fair to say that we did that because we were passionate about it. There wasn't a consumer demand for it. But things have changed hugely in the last few years. In my experience of launching Deep Down Wines about 18 months ago, we travelled the world looking for distribution for our small brand, and we were amazed at the doors that we opened. Now, as you know, Marlborough has a big reputation, sells an awful lot of wine all over the world. And it's fair to say that a lot of it is similar. So the brand of Marlborough is one thing, and that's what has excited people. But the feedback we got from the distributors as we went around was that they were waiting for something new. They really wanted not to just take on another Marlborough producer that was the same as all the competitors, but the fact that we were organic, we were low impact, we were sustainable, we were socially responsible and environmentally responsible meant a huge thing to them. So we were very lucky that we managed to pick up some excellent distributors all over the world. I've got to say that this is driven by consumer demand. The distributors don't go looking for things unless there is a demand. And that has changed hugely in the last few years. Unfortunately, our biggest problem at the moment is there's a massive shortage of organic grapes. And that's something that we're trying as an organisation at Organic Wine Growers to help bring through the system. And if you wonder why people choose organic wine over non-organic wine, I think it's fair to say that they see it as quality as for sure as the first thing. But they're also driven by the choices they're making because they want to to support brands that are environmentally and socially responsible, particularly to be chemical free. And I think that's what people expect from New Zealand. So all I can say is it's an exciting time to be in the organic wine industry. We definitely need a bit of help. We need help to bring forward that supply of grapes and to spread our word. Thank you.
Hey, what a run through that was. Very quick, very fast. Some questions already coming through. One to Fonterra, asking about organic producers using lower stocking rates. Andrew, do you want to answer that?
Let me just check there. So organic producers do have a lower stocking rate in general to our conventional farmers. Overall, I think if you look at it a per kilo milk solids basis, organic farms on average are about 20% down, and a lot of that's to do with synthetic fertilizers, but also around that stocking rate as well. So highlights that overall it's better for the environment. You've got less nutrient runoff, and those lower stocking rates are also good for the land as well.
And if I just add a little bit, we've got a palmu case study in the report which shows it's around 30 or 40% less nitrogen, less greenhouse gases, same around that rate, but 30-40% average between their farms, and interestingly also around about 40% more EBIT that those palmu farms are earning when compared to palmu's conventional farms. So yeah, have a look at that section when it comes through. Rick, he's CEO of Organic Exporters. He says the category of fruit and vegetables contains two huge subcategories of apples and kiwi fruits. Both of these categories are north of 60 million. Would we consider reporting these two subcategories separately? Yes, we would. A lot of it is around how much data individuals individual companies are willing to share, but yes, definitely something worth looking at. And I see Colin's putting in an answer as well.
Steve, can I just jump in on that aspect of more granular data? Mm-hmm. I think with the product bill as well, but generally in terms of how we collect the data for the report, this is an area of specific opportunity for OANZ to drive, right? Because we know that there is such interest in more granular data, and there is the ability to do that. It's just a matter of actually getting more systems in place and also coordinating with MPI better, so that we can distinguish really in terms of our exports and so on, organic products from the rest of the products.
Yep. And Chirisella, would you like to answer that next question, confirming the sales for organic honey? Exactly to the point about sharing commercial data. You're mute, Chirisella.
This is a good question because it's linked to the having access to more granular data. We have reported honey figures in this market report, and as you'll see, it's a small amount. We believe that in reality that figure is multiple times bigger, but we've relied really on the level of and willingness of the sector to share that data with us. And so that's one of the limitations we have in terms of getting access to data. And the figure for honey is actually, as reported, is $820,000. But we do know informally that, in reality, the figure is much bigger.
All right. Have we got any other questions coming through? Here we go. All right. The technical question. Let's see if we've got any other questions coming through just for a moment. No, so just to recap, here we go. Christine, she asks how biodynamic products are being viewed by large corporations and if there's any interest in setting a range of standards. Maybe, Andrew, do you want to answer that from a dairy perspective?
Yeah, sure. So I think really it's around that consumer recognition. We still have, I guess, a long way, a little bit of a journey to continue to educate a large portion of consumers globally on what organics is. Biodynamics is obviously a step further. So I think probably for us, I think we'd be looking at a larger penetration, a larger market share and consumer awareness in the organic value proposition before sort of building on that with a biodynamic on top of it. It's not to say that certainly consumers, there is a group of consumers, especially within that organic consumer group, that don't know what biodynamic is. It's just, again, it's realising that challenge of awareness.
Mm. And Alice, is it from the kiwi fruit perspective, would you say the same or different?
Yeah, I'd say very similar to what Andrew has expressed. It's also around how you find and target that consumer as well, because the organic consumer themselves, finding them can already be a bit of a challenge in terms of segmentation, but you're driving another subgroup segmentation again under that. So that also, drives back to how do you drive value for that proposition too.
Yeah. And what about from a supermarket perspective? Matt, would you like to comment?
Yeah, look, it's an ever-changing space, so our approach is dynamic, and if we can do things to change up perception, the educational pieces and things like that, then we'll be happy to contribute to such.
Okay, Brendan's answering the honey question, it looks like. And then, okay, one for Clive. What's the timeline to turn a vineyard around to organic?
Thank you. Look, it's a 3-year conversion period. I think that's pretty standard with most organic practice around in all the different industries. Yeah, look, it's not immediate, unfortunately. It's one of those things, I think, that certainly in Marlborough, which is most of the industry, it's a bit production driven, similar to sort of dairy in that respect, where it's it's all about production and yield, and so there's a bit of a misconception that the yield is much lower, so therefore you're not going to return as much on your investment on your property. But people seem to forget that there's a 20 or 30% premium for the price of organic grapes as well, so you don't actually have to farm it as hard to produce a similar return on your land. But yeah, the answer to the question is it's a 3-year turnaround. Yeah.
And then the next question, what's your perspective around biodynamics? We see a lot of wineries are going down that track.
Yeah, look, I've got a bit of experience in that as well, and I think it's something that you kind of lead yourself into. Once you've committed to organics, you start to think on a much more sort of a larger vision of what's possible, and organics is a really great leaping point into biodynamics. And the thing with wine is that at that level where people are looking to organic or biodynamic, they're often not just producing a commercial product. They're trying to produce something that's unique to that site. And I think that biodynamics really does help you to produce the most truest expression of the vineyard in your bottle, and then that's a unique product. So it's not just a commercial product. I don't know if that answered the question. I didn't see the question.
Yep. Just the wine perspective on biodynamics.
Yeah, it's something that for top quality wine, like I say, super, premium and super premium wine, biodynamics is a really amazing tool to help you achieve that.
Okay, so a question from Moorish Organic Butchery, very appropriate question from them, asking us what percentage in dollar is organic meat for domestic and export markets. So Brendan or Chirasella?
I can answer that. So just looking at the figures, is roughly about 3%. And I think the value is around $12 million. So we absolutely, we would love to see, you know, a much better and bigger figure for meat and wool. And so that's you know, that's one of the sectors that we, you know, potentially needs to, we have to think, well, what are the pathways for actually increasing our supply and production of organic meat, you know, and link that with consumer demand.
Okay, I'm looking.
Brendan here. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Cool. Would you like to answer a question?
I think just on the red meat one, it is a sector issue as well. I mean, the red meat sector, we did interview Beef and Lamb and the Meat Industry Association. And it is fair that out of all the sectors in New Zealand, it is probably the most complicated in terms of its support from a wider sector perspective. And that's nothing that we can report on that. But I believe those in the red meat sector would understand that quite well and intimately. And it is something that the red meat sector can work together on with OANZ and others to try and improve. Thank you.
And another question, maybe Noel, you could answer this from Rob Simic. Hi, Rob from Nelson. Is there some more detailed work in the report on the different organic consumer personas, like who's buying daily, weekly, versus beverage versus processed?
There is some data, and it's showing a continuation of long-term trends. That it's very much health-driven in the first perspective, environmentally and taste-driven are follow-up factors, and those. Yeah, I'm sorry, I haven't seen exactly the question, but there is some data on the frequency of purchase. And the type of products they're purchasing.
Yeah, and also a section on COVID and how COVID's affected that purchasing as well, which has really increased organics more than anything else. Right, I think we've come. I don't see any new questions coming through. As we said, we'll keep questions going on our blog. So if you do have any questions you'd like to ask of any of the speakers that are here, please do go to our blog and ask them there. We'll contact the speakers and come back to you. So finally, we're going to go and launch our report. Very exciting. Jessica Hutchings has already blessed the report and we'll share that with you now. And at the karakia, you'll be able to go and download the report for yourself. It'll be in the chat, and you'll be able to also get it direct from our website. So this is the end of the market report launch. Thanks everybody for coming along today. Thanks to our speakers to answer everyone's questions on the spot. It was great listening to everybody. Thanks again to everyone who's tuned in. I think we've got pretty close to 100 as it's turning out in the end. And finally, just a really quick thank you to Brendan and Chiarasella, who are our key researchers, and also to Business Lab for hosting us all today. So we'll go over to Dr. Hutchings now for our karakia.
On behalf of Te Waka Kaiora, to be able to offer and share a karakia, an incantation, to create a smooth pathway for this report to travel to the places where it needs to travel to, and to be able to create the influence that we all aspire that this work needs to deliver. So, me inoi tātou. Whakataka hau ki te uru, whakataka hau ki te tonga. Kia mā kina ki uta, kia mā taratara ki tai. He hia ki ana te ata kura, he teo, he keho, he hauhunga, tihei, mauri ora.
All right, that's just left us, I think.
Viv, I'm just starting the strategy workshop right now.
Great. So everybody, please do jump over to the next link and jump into that strategy workshop. Really looking forward to everyone's opinions on that strategy workshop.